Yes, everybody can hear me clearly. Right, mic test, mic test. Okay, good. Okay, let me just first introduce myself. My name is Teacher Leroy. I'm from the Chalkboard Academy. Some of you may know me from the Facebook page, the PSLE support page. I sometimes help out, answer questions there. So a bit of on my credentials. I've been a teacher for over 20 years. I've taught in schools like Sin Primary, Rosai, Tao Nan, where I taught English in the gifted education program. I've also taught in Kong Hua and Macpherson Primary. Okay, so for a very long time, I've always been in the PSLE, the upper primary teacher, primary levels as an English teacher. So mostly I taught in P5 and P6. So I was involved every year in the EL PSLE oral examiner as an examiner, and also every year as PSLE paper 1 and paper 2 marker. So usually I'll be paper 1 marker. So that's where a lot of my experience comes in. So I've been doing curriculum development for quite a while too, developing our center's curriculum, and I also write short stories and stuff like that. Okay, so today we're going to be working on our PSLE oral. I'm going to share with you guys, especially the parents, what PSLE examiners look out for during the exam. So this is our agenda for today. So I'll be sharing with you what the PSLE oral examination rubrics are like, and what basically the examiners are looking for when they are examining the students during the oral exam. So we'll be taking a look at the reading aloud session and the stimulus-based conversation section 2. Then after that, I'll be giving you guys some strategies on how to improve on your reading aloud. Then I'll also share the strategies for your SBC stimulus-based conversation. Then I'll give you some tips on how to present positive body language. Then we'll have a Q&A. Okay, so we're going to start with the reading aloud examination rubrics. Okay, so you guys know you've gone through your prelims, some of you, or maybe most of you. So the reading aloud section, is 10 marks. So this is what the examiners at the PSLE exams will be looking out for. So as you know, during the PSLE examination, you'll be facing 2 examiners. Okay, so you'll be sequestered in a waiting room. You'll be given, you'll be queued up according to your PSLE register numbers, right? Then you'll be given 5 minutes when it's your turn. You'll be given 5 minutes to prepare your script, read your script, as well as look at the SBC pictures to formulate ideas of what you want to talk about and so on. Okay, so that one you guys should be quite well aware of. Incidentally, for this year, I think it's similar to last year. You guys will still have to wear a mask, and there may also be a plastic screen in front of you. All these are the COVID measures. So one thing you need to keep in mind, parents, is you need to remind your children to read at a louder volume or speak at a louder volume. Okay. Are you handling all the chats? Okay, so let's go through these rubrics. These are what the PSLE rubrics that I've managed to extract. Okay, so number 1, what they look out for is pronunciation and articulation. So you must be able to read a passage with good pronunciation and very clear articulation of the words. Okay, pronunciation, of course, meaning you need to pronounce each specific word correctly and not mispronounce them like salmon. You don't pronounce it as salmon, that kind of thing. Okay, clear articulation, meaning each syllable of the word is read clearly. You're not swallowing your words or mumbling. Right. Number two, you have to read with rhythm and fluency. So you need to use appropriate rhythm. You need to be able to stress on certain words. You need to be able to pace your sentences, okay, and not read like a robot, like monotonously and at a very fast speed. Okay, there must be some parts slow, some parts faster, and so on. So we'll talk about that later. And last and most importantly is to read with expressiveness. So in my opinion, this is the one that separates your 8 upon 10 from your 9 or 10 upon 10. So some kids may read well, they read with good pronunciation and articulation, they have good rhythm and fluency, but they lack that expressiveness, which is to read with variation of pitch and tone in order to convey information, ideas, and feelings especially. So this is later on, I'm going to talk about the strategy on how you can max out your 10 marks by reading with expressiveness. Okay, so this is the marking rubrics that examiners will get when they are marking your child for the PSLE oral. As you can see at the top band, which is what, of course, what we want to aim for, you have to have clear and consistently good pronunciation, must read fluently with appropriate pauses and without hesitation. That means there are no pauses and awkward pauses and stops in between words and all that. The tone and pitch must have appropriate variation. Pitch is how high your voice goes or how low. The tone is the tone in which you speak actually reflects the emotion during that situation. So a lot of kids, even though they can read well, this is the part sometimes that they lack, which is they do not vary the pitch. They read the entire passage in one pitch and in one tone. There's no emotion reflected and so on. So most kids usually hit around this band, which is the 7 to 8 mark band, right? They can speak clearly, some errors here and there. The teacher still understands you well. They just do not have that grade of variation in their pitch and tone. Okay, so don't worry for parents. If you want to personally test your child at home, you can email us later and we can send you the mock exam plus the marking rubrics so that you can do your own test at home. Okay, so we're moving on to strategies. Okay, so this acronym here, PAIRS, is the strategy we came up with to help children read their passage better. Okay, so first of all is punctuation and phrasing. So you need to have appropriate pauses when you're reading a sentence. So when do we pause? Basically, we pause at punctuations and change of paragraphs. Okay, so we have short pauses, which is a 1 count, and long pause, which is a 2 count. So usually for commas, we advise a 1 count. Full stops, exclamation marks, question marks, paragraphs, we would advise a 2 count, like just 1, 2. Not 2 seconds. Don't count two, not exactly 2 seconds, but just 1, 2. Okay, so don't have pauses that are too short because number one, you run out of breath. The pauses are good for children to take a quick intake of breath. Don't pause for too long because then the marker will take it as hesitation and you might get marked down for that. Also choose the right places to pause because it will affect the listener's understanding. Okay, if you pause in the wrong place, it changes the meaning or the semantics of the sentence. So you need to be able to understand or try to find out where the appropriate pauses are. So as a general rule, just look out for punctuation to pause, change of paragraphs, or at the end of the sentence wrap, at the end of the page, when you move on to a new line in the passage, you can do a short pause there to continue. Okay, so E is expression. Now, this is basically the key to scoring a 9 to 10 mark for your reading aloud. Okay, so you got to read with feelings. Okay, so if the character in the story, and there will definitely be different characters in PSLE passages, okay, because they want to test that you're able to switch characters and switch pitch. Then there will also be different emotions portrayed in that passage. It could be anger, it could be surprise, it could be happiness. So if your child is unable to reflect these feelings, then that's why they can't get that top band. Okay, so you got to be able to identify, there'll usually be words and markers that show. They'll be like, the boy shouted angrily, or the mom smiled happily, you know. So use this as clues to change your tone in the voice. So sound happy, you know, when you're reading a happy dialogue, or sound angry when you're reading an angry dialogue. So no, if your reading is monotonous, it's like reading like a robot in a very flat tone with no inflections, then you're not going to do very well. Change in voice in direct speech is very important. Okay, so later on, we'll be talking about that a bit more. So what do we mean by this? Again, emotions and tone. Emotions is your tone. Pitch. Pitch is important because you got to try to vary your pitch. Like if it's a young child, you may want to raise your pitch a little bit. Or if it's a female character in the story, you may want to raise your pitch a little bit. If it's a male character, you may want to drop your pitch a little bit. Also, you need to be able to have a different voice for your dialogue voice, your direct speech voice, compared to your the reading sentence, right? The normal sentence voice, right? So listen up, exclaimed the teacher. So usually the dialogue voice goes up, then the tag that follows will drop. Okay, so next is volume wise. Do not be too soft. Okay, for this year is going to be even. I mean, it's going to be harder than normal because you have your mask on, and you might have a plastic screen in front of you. So speaking with enough volume to reach the examiners is going to be harder than usual. So please, you need to speak up, because if the examiners cannot hear you, they cannot give you a good grade. And also they might get frustrated and they keep prompting you. That's also not good. Okay. Right, A is for accuracy. So you got to read words correctly throughout the passage. So at this point of time, you should have been practicing how to pronounce difficult words. Okay, so what they'll look out for are consonants like S and K and the ED sound. So you got to pronounce words like light with the light sound, and tent, you know, with the t sound. I know a lot of kids have problems pronouncing the TH sound, so you can practice it at home. You know, basically all you have to do is stick your tongue under your top front teeth like this, and then push the air out. You feel a bit of pressure build up in between your cheeks, so you can say words like thought and father, not taught and father, which is typically how our kids pronounce these words. Okay, so do not misread or mispronounce words like common words like there. This word there and the other pronoun THEY. Okay, maybe I'll write it down for you. This word, they are often mispronounced by local kids as their. I mean, even adults do that. Their. There's no such pronunciation as their. Okay, it's all pronounced as there, like this word here, there. So there, they're all there. So teachers will also look out for that. So mispronunciation. How about unfamiliar words? If you encounter unfamiliar words when you are doing your preparation in the 5 minutes, you should try to break it up phonetically. Okay, if you get a difficult or more than 3 syllables, let's say, break it up into its component parts and try to make sense about on how to pronounce it. Most importantly, when you read it to the examiner, you must sound confident. The confidence is already like half the victory. So make yourself sound very confident when you say the word. Most of the time, the teachers might just let you off for that. Okay, so when you reach that word, don't leave a blank there. Like don't skip it, and don't mangle the word. So break it down using your common sense. Break down the words into its syllables and then try to pronounce it. Do not be careless. Okay, the reason why a lot of kids get careless when they're reading is they go too fast. So when they go too fast, a couple of things happen. One, they skip words. Another one, they change words. And the third case, they add words because the mind makes up the words for them to fill up. Okay, because they're reading it too fast. So read at a comfortable pace. So my suggestion is always to read at a slightly slower pace than your usual reading speed. Okay, if you think that you're going too fast, quickly slow down. Okay, so that you don't make careless mistakes, you don't stumble, and you don't skip words, change words, or add words. Right. Lastly, some kids also, because they're so used to talking or reading in a certain way, they miss out consonant sounds like all these things. So there's still a couple of weeks, 1 week, right? Okay, so maybe you want to take the time to practice saying out loud, reading out passages, which I will be sending to your parents. Okay, so practice those. Make sure you pronounce the ending consonants, but don't be over dramatic with it. Don't go and that kind of thing. So pronounce it as naturally as you can. R is for rhythm. Okay, like I said earlier, read at a pace which I speak or slightly slower. Okay, don't go too fast, don't go too slow, don't have inconsistent speed. Okay, like you change, you go faster during areas when you should be slowing down and so on. Okay, stressing on the wrong words is very important. Do not stress on the wrong words. You need to stress on the right words. Okay, because stressing on key important words in a sentence will help your listener understand better. So later on, I'll give you an example too. Okay, so make sure you stress on the right words. Okay, last S is for smoothness. So read clearly and smoothly. Do not have hesitations. Okay, this again ties up with your speed and rhythm, because if you read very quickly, your tendency to trip over words is very high. Also, enunciation, very important. You need to open your mouth while reading, because if you don't open your mouth, you are going to mumble. And when you mumble, the teacher won't be able to hear you, and then that's how you get marks deducted. Okay, and try not to hesitate. Hesitation creates, it will give you like you lose confidence. When you hesitate too many times, you will start feeling it. You start panicking. So try not to hesitate. Be confident. During the 5 minutes, master the short paragraph or the short passage. Okay, so find out all the weak areas. Be confident about pronouncing the words. Okay, so that's pairs. Okay, so parents, you can use this technique or strategies to help your kids practice at home. You can ask for this from us. We can send it to you too. Okay, moving on. Right, so main strategies for reading aloud. Okay, don't just read well, you need to read like a storyteller. Okay, so key points that you need to remember. You need to change your pitch for different characters or genders. And the attribution. Attribution is the part that comes after the dialogue part. So you need to drop your tone, drop your pitch for that. Okay, so normally we would suggest character high, the narrator part will be low. Okay, change your tone to reflect emotions like anger, sadness, joy, surprise, and so on. Okay, loop or group your words or phrases logically. This is very important because it helps with your pauses too. So you need to be able to practice this at home. Okay, what do I mean by loop or group your sentence? For example, in this sentence, I'm looping the words in these groups. The 3 children thanked the fairy godmother for her lovely present. So you notice there's a short pause in between the loops. It gives you a chance to read carefully, think ahead, look ahead, pause for breath, and listen to the emphasis of the words too. The 3 children thanked the fairy godmother for her lovely present. So 3 tells me how many children. Thanked is very important because it's the verb action here. What did the 3 children do for her lovely presents? Because lovely tells you more about the present. So this is what I mean by emphasizing on important words, the correct words. So go slow, reduce your reading speed. Do not rush, very important. Start your sentence high and end low. The 3 children thanked the fairy godmother for her lovely present. You notice how I started the 3 up for her lovely present, low. So start sentence high and low. Start sentence faster, slightly, and end slow. See, again, I did it just now. The 3 children thanked the fairy godmother for her lovely present. It's instinctive. Okay, a good reader should be able to find this easy. You know, they'll figure this out. Okay. Right, next one. Look out for punctuation marks like question marks and exclamation marks. So if it's a question, try to hook your voice upwards, pitch your voice up, like if it's a question, right? Like, who are you meeting? Go up, down, hook up, then down. If it's an exclamation mark, shoot it straight up. Stop that, go up. Okay, so big pause at full stops, 3 counts. Small pause at comma, 1 count. Okay, so you can try 3 counts or 2 counts. Is at least 2 or 3 counts would be good. So 1, 2, 3. Small pause, 1. Emphasize important words like I mentioned earlier. All right, this is an example of this is a sample passage from PSLE. I think it's 2019, if I'm not wrong. So how do you read a passage well? I'm going to give you an example. Okay, between reading a passage well and reading it like a storyteller. So for example, I'm going to read this story as just a normal kid reading it well, okay? Ronnie was poring over a storybook when the doorbell rang. He was at the most exciting part of the story where the mysterious hero was about to be unveiled. If only I could just ignore the doorbell, he thought. He reluctantly went to open the door. It was his mother. Okay, that is reasonably well read. Okay, most likely he will get an 8, or he didn't make any mistakes, so he won't get a 7. He'll probably get an 8. How do you read it like a storyteller? Okay, so this is how. Ronnie was poring over a storybook when the doorbell rang. He was at the most exciting part of the story, where the mysterious hero was about to be unveiled. If only I could just ignore the doorbell, he thought. He reluctantly went to open the door. It was his mother. Thank you. I forgot to bring our house keys, said his mother. By the way, there's a letter for you, and so on. So do you see a difference in the way I read that passage? The first one is just good reading. It's normal. It's good. You would probably get an 8. Maybe a generous generous tester might give you a 9. But if you read it the second way, where you inflect and you create a sense of emotion, when you focus on certain words like most exciting or mysterious hero. Now, that's how a storyteller tells a story. And usually when, like me as an examiner, this is what we look out for to give our 10 marks. So those kids who can put a bit more effort into reading it as if they're telling a story, really bring excitement, surprise, and things inside the story. These are the people we give 10 marks to. Of course, as few mistakes as possible. Okay, so this is a good passage to practice. As you notice, there are two characters, one boy and the mother. So you can change your pitch. There are different emotions. There's surprise, there's happiness. You need to be able to showcase these, then you can get your full marks. Okay, is everybody okay so far? Right. Going on to stimulus-based conversation. Okay, so your SBC. Right. So this is based again on the PSLE rubrics for stimulus-based conversation. So what are the three things that they look out for? Number one, personal response. You must be able to give and develop personal responses. So basically, you must be able to discuss the topic and developed it by giving ideas and talking about the situation in the picture, providing your own responses. Okay, so this is an area that a lot of kids stumble because they tend to answer it like it's an interrogation. The teacher asks a question, I say yes, I say no, and I stop there. So that's something that we'll talk about later. You should not be doing that. Clarity of expression, because basically this is still an English exam. So you need to express yourself with accurate pronunciation, use as wide a range of vocabulary as possible, must use accurate sentence structures because again, this is an English oral exam. So you should not be using Singlish. You should not be cutting short your sentences or using ungrammatical structures. So you need to speak clearly, use correct sentence structures, grammar structures, and of course, as wide a vocabulary as possible. Don't keep repeating the same words over and over again. And the last part, this is the most important part. Like as I discussed in the reading aloud, where I said that the expression was the key to your 9 to 10 marks. The engagement in conversation is the key to your top band, which is your 18 to 20 marks. So this is the one that examiners look out for. If the child is able to interact with the examiner as if it were a real life conversation and like a chat between friends. Now, this is what separates the top band from the rest. Okay, so we'll talk about how you do that later on. All right, so these are the rubrics for the SBC. As you can see, 17 to 20 marks is the top band. Okay, you must be able to give personal responses which are must be very well developed. Developed meaning there's a lot of detail in your conversation. You're able to give examples, you're able to give your thoughts on it, you're able to portray your emotions and opinions and so on. Okay, so you must, of course, speak with confidence. You try to use different words and structures, okay, correct punctuation. And last but most importantly, interacts very well, shows initiative. This is the most important part if you want to score really, really high. This is the key component, the key ingredient. And later on, I'll reveal to you secret strategy. I wouldn't say secret, but it's common knowledge, but it's like your secret weapon. Okay, so this is what will help you get that top band if you're looking to score that top band. Right, so shows initiative in introducing ideas. Okay, very important. If you're able to do this, you will definitely get this band. Okay, so I'm not going through all that. So let's look at the strategy for SBC. We call it BLARE, B-L-A-R-E. Okay, so body language. Okay. Body language is something I'll talk more about again later on, but briefly go through. So look confident and ready to converse. Now, teachers' first impressions very important. When you walk into the classroom for your test, don't slouch and slump. Don't look like you're sulking or you're about to run screaming out of the room. You know, don't do that. Look confident, because when you're confident and you smile, the mood in the room changes. The teachers will smile too, and it lightens the whole mood. When they see that you're confident, okay, they will not, okay, they will not be that likely to, you know, score you badly. So show confidence and smile. Okay, so greet your teachers, ask for permission. Do not just plonk your butt down on the chair immediately without asking for permission, because that shows courtesy too. So show confidence, smile, ask for permission, greet them, wish them a good day. Okay, that really helps, because everybody likes a polite kid. Okay, we as an examiner, if you come in, you know, sulking or showing a very black face, you're not going to get a very good response from us, because we have to test like 50, 60 kids. Okay, it can get a bit exhausting. So having somebody come in very exuberantly can really change the mood. Okay, maintain eye contact. Maintaining eye contact is important because it shows confidence. Doesn't mean that you stare goggle-eyed at the examiners throughout the whole exam. No, you can look down, you can look elsewhere here and there. But when you are conversing during SBC, okay, when you are talking to the examiners individually, of course, maintain eye contact. Okay, don't look down at your script. A lot of kids do that. They look down at their scripts as if the script is going to provide them with a miracle of an answer. The script is not going to do that. The pictures are not going to do that. Okay, the pictures are used to help you to inspire you with ideas, topics to talk about, and details and so on, but they are not there to provide you with an answer. So when you are talking, if teacher A is asking you a question or prompting you, look at teacher A and speak confidently. And if teacher B asks another question, then change your focus to teacher B, maintain eye contact. If you need to glance down to check something in your picture, go ahead, glance down quickly and then look up again. Do not stare at your SBC sheet all the way. Some kids do that, and because of that, they lose a lot of marks. Also, you have a mask on, there might be a plastic screen in front of you. You should not be holding up your script covering your face, because then that's 3 layers for you to get through to get your voice across to your examiner. That's not good. Okay, sit up straight and be attentive. Okay, you need to sit up straight and pay attention, because if you don't pay attention, you might miss out prompts, or you might misunderstand prompts. So do not lose focus and play with your watch or look elsewhere and sorry, what did you say? No, that's very rude. But if you do miss out what the teacher said because you were unable to hear it, or it wasn't clear because again the teachers are also wearing masks, please don't be afraid to raise your hand or to ask questions, to ask the teacher what she said. Politely ask her to repeat it, like, excuse me, teacher, could you please repeat that question? Okay, just be straight and say that with confidence. Okay. Lastly, do not fidget. Please do not move about. Don't shift in your chair. Don't rock your chair. Don't rock forwards or backwards. Okay, don't touch things all over the table. Don't touch your hands. Don't touch your watches. Okay, don't play with your hands. Just put your hands down flat in front of you. Hold the picture. Hold the prompts if you need to. Put it in your hands, but don't cover your face with it. Okay, don't fidget. All right. L, when you're doing your SBC, language, vocabulary, and sentence structures, very important. Use a wide variety of good vocabulary. Use correct sentence structures. If you're not that confident with your grammar, then suggest using shorter, simpler sentences, active voice. Just say a very simple thing like the boy kicked the ball. Just use a straightforward sentence. Okay, don't try to use compound sentences that are too difficult to link together, like starting with verb plus ing, that kind of sentence. Okay, do not use English slang or other languages, like don't suddenly switch to Malay or Chinese or Tamil. Okay, do not use English phrases like la and ho and all that. Okay, or phrases like why like that. Okay, so don't use this because it is ultimately still an English oral exam. Okay, speak in complete sentences. Okay, when the teacher or whoever asks you, what is your favorite food? Don't just say spaghetti. Okay, my favorite food is spaghetti. Right, but you don't have to keep repeating exactly the question that the teacher asks. Like teacher asks you, which of these books would you like to read? Then you don't have to reply, the book which I would like to read is very stilted, is very fake. Just say, I would like to read that book, make it a very normal conversation. So treat it, ultimately, very importantly, you must treat this like a conversation between new friends, and don't treat it like a prisoner of war interrogation, which is something I'll talk about later. All right, next, do not repeat and or then and then to form a long sentence. It's very tedious and it doesn't speak to good sentence structure, so don't do that. Try to use different words to express similar ideas. No, don't just keep saying, I was very happy to do this. I was very happy to see that. I was very happy when this happened. So try to use different adjectives, different verbs in your sentences. Okay. A is for accuracy. Right. Similarly to reading aloud, you must speak clearly with correct pronunciation. Don't mispronounce words. If you're not sure how to pronounce a certain word, then use a different word. Okay, don't use words you can't pronounce. Open your mouth while speaking. Do not mumble or whisper. I know some kids have a problem with that. Then you really need to practice at home. Ask your parents for help. Ask your siblings, older siblings. Practice with them. Okay, do not drag your words out. Okay, so again, usually PSLE oral is early in the morning, and the examiners have to test big groups of like at least 30 to 50 kids. It's exhausting. So, and everybody more or less talks about the same thing. So don't drag to make the situation even more draggy. So keep the mood uplifting, keep the mood very sparkly, keep it exciting. Do not use words that you're not familiar with or unsure of. Okay, if you're unsure of it, don't use it. Just use a different word, a similar word that you know. Okay, R, this is the last two are the most important parts of SBC, or how you score. Okay, so R stands for your response. So there's later on I'll give you the strategy to how do you do responses, but basically you need to give responses that are packed with details, your who, your what, your where, your when, your how, and your why as much as possible. Okay, the second one, this is our secret weapon. Show initiative, introduce new ideas. Okay, so always try to use your own experiences if you have any. If you don't, you can make it up, it's fine. Okay, somebody else had this similar experience, or your friend shared an experience with you, you can introduce that too. So also introducing new ideas can, what we can mean by that is, let's say the question asks you, have you ever taken part in a sporting event? But you haven't, right? But you may have done something else. So no, I have not taken part in sporting events, but I have done esports. That's a new idea. And esports maybe is something that you are very, very keen on. Now you can take control of the conversation and actually talk about something that you really enjoy, and that tends to help you talk more. So one of our key strategies is, of course, trying to seize control of conversation, turn it into something that you are very much more familiar with and excited to talk about. That changes the whole dynamic. Okay, I know that PSLE SBCs, the pictures can be a bit dull or ordinary, but there may be key points in that picture that you can latch onto, turn it around into something that you want to talk about, and then there goes your conversation is going to be very, very much more interesting. Okay, and that's the key thing. You got to make your conversation with the examiner interesting and not just like a robot regurgitating facts. Okay, you're forced to talk about this, so I will just squeeze every little bit of detail I can think of out of those pictures. That's not a conversation. Okay, that is really, really dull. And if you were to do that in real life and a friend were to do that to you in real life, you tell your friend to keep quiet and walk away already. So don't do that to the examiner. Okay, so give the 3 Ws, next one, who and the when and the where, as a way to help you fill details while your mind keeps thinking of a way to make the conversation more interesting to talk about. Right? So use that to fill up details first. Next one, share how you felt. This is what the examiners will look out for, because we don't enjoy talking to lifeless robots or drones. Okay, we want to talk to a human being. You are a human being, so you need to be able to share with us your emotions about the situation. How did you feel when you're not allowed to go to the canteen now during recess because of COVID? Could share with the teachers your feelings of disappointment or anger or disgust or whatever. Okay. Lastly, share your opinion. How do you think things can change? What do you learn from this experience? Okay, what do you conclude about it? So we want to talk to not just human beings, but human beings who are thoughtful. Okay, they think of things. They want to try to fix things. They want to try to change things. This is what we want to see in the examinee, in the participant. Okay, so be a real person. Talk because you're talking to a real person. So treat it as a real conversation between friends. Don't treat it as an interrogation, because that's the easiest way to score low, because it becomes like we have to drag the information out of you, and that's not good for SBC. Which is the E, engagement, the last part, the interacting well. You need to capture his attention. Okay, so don't be afraid to ask for questions to be repeated. Don't just keep quiet. I didn't hear, so it doesn't count, so I keep quiet. All right, not to acknowledge what was said. Use fillers, like in my opinion, if I were there, no, and don't fidget. So engagement is what is the special ingredient that helps kids get to the top band, because it turns the whole interrogation-like situation into a friendly conversation. Okay, so a lot of kids that I've tested who are able to score top marks for this section, they are the ones who actually share with me anecdotal experiences, things that have happened to them, funny things like, oh, the time I jumped in the pool and my swimming trunks got pulled off, something funny. One of my previous kids even told me a scary ghostly experience that she experienced when she stayed in a hotel in Malaysia. So if you can turn the conversation to a topic that is personal to you, you have experience in it, something happy, something funny, something scary even, you have the examiner's attention, and that gives you a lot of good marks. Okay, so that's what I mean. All right, so how do you respond? So step one, you have to answer. Try not to answer with monosyllabic. That means one word answers. Don't just say yes or no or I did or did not. No. Give personal responses. There's always an implied why in the first question. Like, do you enjoy reading? Don't just say yes, I do. No, there's an implied why in that. So don't wait for them to ask you why. So give your personal responses with details. Introduce new ideas that interest you. Now, if you can find something in the SBC picture that can be attached to something that you really enjoy. It could be a hobby, it could be a TV show, it could be a computer game, anything that can spark your interest. Introduce that as the new idea for you to talk about, then you have control of the conversation. Okay, don't forget to share your feelings about the situation that you're talking about. How do you feel about that situation, right? We want to talk to human beings, not robots. Share your opinions, because that shows that you are thoughtful, that you think about it, you are mature, and you have your opinion. Okay, we would like to hear your opinion. Your opinion doesn't have to be the same as the examiner's. Okay, in fact, you can disagree with the examiners. Okay, so if you have something that you don't think is true to you, in your opinion, you don't feel that's the way it should be, talk about that. That's what we want to hear. That's what will give you the top band. All right, so remember, it's a conversation, it's not an interrogation. So don't be dull or boring. Engagement is the key. Okay, so there are kids who will just go on and on talking about the same thing. I like animal books because I like animals. Animals are cute. I like to see animals. I watch animal documentaries. Again. Okay, we heard enough already. So don't just go on and on and on. Okay, find a detail you enjoy talking about and take control. Don't wait for prompts. Not necessarily bad. Sometimes, okay, the teacher may want to steer the conversation on the right track, and they will give you a prompt. But what I mean by don't wait for prompts here is that don't just answer with one detail and then sit there and wait. Okay, I'm just waiting for the teacher to ask me the next question. Again, this is not an interrogation. Okay, so a good conversation relies on back and forth, right? So you talk enough, the teacher smiles and is interesting. She's going to go on with her prompt to ask you something else. Just follow along. But don't wait for them, like for 3 seconds to sit there, okay, and just wait. No, that's not good. Okay, share anecdotes, their personal experiences. It could be real, it could be something you saw on TV or read in a magazine. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so they won't know. They're not going to investigate you and find out if it's true or not. Okay, make the examiner your friend. That's very important, because who want to fail the friend, right? So if the examiner is your friend, you're smiling a lot at them, you are engaging them, the rapport is there, they're laughing at your jokes, you are going to do well. Okay, make the examiner react to you, make them laugh, make them gasp in shock, make them curious. Okay, this is what a conversation is all about. Wouldn't you want to be talking to someone like that in real life? Or would you like to hear a robot drone on about the same thing over and over again? Okay, makes sense? Okay, this was a 2019 test paper. Now, what do you see in this picture? You see a bookshelf with books and all that. So some students just went on and on and on about animal book or whatever, right? So, but if you are interested in superheroes, like say you love the Marvel movie series, right? What do you get here? You get a book about Superboy Danny, right? It's a superhero story. So this is what I mean by spotting something in the picture that sparks your interest. So one of my students, he did the basic thing. He covered everything. It's like he wouldn't mind reading the Strange Door because it's a mystery book. Blah blah. He gave some examples. Then he went on to superheroes and he said, if I had a superpower, he changed the topic. If I had a superpower, I would want to heal, power to heal. I said, why? Why would you want that? It's so boring, right? Wouldn't you want to fly and all that? No, if I could heal, then I can cure the world of all diseases and nobody will need to see a doctor anymore. No, things like that. He actually switched the conversation to something that he was interested to talk about. He then went on to talk about other superheroes that he liked, like Spider-Man and so on. Okay, so take control of the conversation, spot something in the picture that can spark your interest, and then from there you can go on. So these were the prompts that accompanied this picture. Okay. Okay, lastly, I'm going to talk about positive body language. because first impressions really count, right? Like I mentioned earlier, when you walk in, make sure your uniform is neat and tidy. Everything is tucked in neatly. Walk in, standing up straight, confident, bow, greet the teachers, good morning, wish them well, ask for permission, then you sit down. Okay, do not fidget, don't play with your fingernails, don't play with your watch, don't play with your face, don't rock your chair and so on. Okay, look confident, don't move unnecessarily. Listen attentively, don't miss out any prompts. If you do, because you can't hear or it's muffled, don't be afraid to ask the teacher to repeat. Maintain eye contact as much as possible. If your eyes are tired, just rest them a bit, then look up again. For SBC, you need to talk and maintain eye contact. Don't talk while looking down. Don't talk while looking at your script below. Okay, that's very bad. Okay, so we are almost done. We are going on to our Q&A. So if you have any questions, okay, so I'm going to address some of these questions. Monotonous, you already answered that. Okay, monotonous means you read like a robot with no change in your pitch and tone. You sound like that, like a dead fish. So how to train to speak louder? Okay, that one, you need to be able, first of all, confidence. Okay, I think confidence is the main issue when kids don't speak loud enough, because without that confidence, they are unable to summon that energy to push their voice out. So practice confidence, try to instill that confidence in them. Speaking out loud means being able to throw your voice. Okay, so be able to use your lungs. Okay, any of you who have joined singing or choir, you know your diaphragm. Try to push the air out from there. Okay, practice that. Okay, there are some YouTube videos that you can check out on how to pitch your voice louder or throw your voice further. You can actually watch those. Okay, how do you know if I'm too fast or too slow? Okay, if you're too fast, reading too fast, you tend to stumble and skip words, or you add new words, or you change words. So that's one of the key markers to how to know you're reading too fast. So how do you usually speak? That is usually a bit fast. Slow that down. Okay, slow that down, then you should be all right. How do you know they're too slow? When you sound like you are going to make the other person fall asleep, then you are too slow. When do you read a past tense word ending ed with the T sound? Well, okay, that really depends on the word. There are some words that you have to pronounce the ed sound like a T, like you got kicked. But some, if you end with like consonants like T, then you got to change it to like patted or knitted. Okay, so depends on the ending consonant. How to change tones? Well, the tones are reflected by whatever emotion is portrayed in the dialogue. Okay, if it's an angry tone, speak of an angry tone. If it's a happy tone, change your tone to a happy one. Okay, when to stress on words? Normally, we stress on adjectives or verbs. Okay, it's kind of instinctive, but with practice, you'll get it. So when you look at a sentence, the important words are not the filler words. They are not the words that like the normal verbs like was, or time words like when, or depends on the situation though. You need to usually look at the verbs and the adjectives, because those are usually the more important words. Certain times the nouns can be more important because we want to reflect the importance of the situation. Okay, how long is the pause at the start of a speech? What do you mean at the start of a speech? I'm not too clear what you mean by that. Okay, so if you're starting a dialogue, that is probably on a new paragraph. If it's on a new paragraph, then you should do a 3 count or a 2 count before you start reading the dialogue. Okay, during the 5-minute preparation, which component are we supposed to spend more time on? I would suggest around 1.5 to 2 minutes on your reading aloud and 3 minutes on your SBC. SBC needs more time because your child needs to be able to come up with ideas on what to talk about, and if he can find something that he can spark his interest so that he can talk more about that. Also, remember, your child has to keep in his mind he has to come up with a lot of information and details, his feelings towards the topic, his opinions, how he can stretch his opinions, what can he talk about. So need more time for SBC, definitely. So usually I would suggest about 1/2 minute to 2 minutes for reading aloud. Reading aloud, just get the rhythm right, tie down any difficult words to pronounce and all that. Usually there won't be difficult words. At most, maybe 1 or 2, because PSLE is very fair about that. So you won't get like long, difficult words like onomatopoeia or something like that. No, you will get maybe slightly more difficult 3-syllable words at most, but nothing unpronounceable. Will the setters deduct marks for hand gestures? No, they won't. They won't deduct marks for hand gestures, but of course, don't like use your hand gestures and accidentally punch the screen or something. Try not to use too much. Lowest you ever get for SBC is no. Okay, the lowest you can get for SBC can be a 0. If you sit there and say nothing at all, you can get a 0. How many teachers are there? What, in Singapore? No. At the exam, at the PSLE exam, 2. You'll be tested by 2 examiners. Okay, and they are not from your child's school because they will be sent from different schools to your child's school to test your students. So it's very fair. Most likely there will be lady teachers because in primary school there are very few male teachers. So yeah, most likely there'll be female. Yeah, so I'm just gonna, because we're running out of time, right? Okay, so if you go off topic, it is okay to go off topic, but there must be a link to the previous topic. Okay, so if the teacher asks you, like for example, just now, which of these books do you prefer to read? You can't just say, I like to watch Marvel movies. You know, you can't just do that. So you have to link it to the previous topic, and then you can switch it to a related topic and not go off topic. Yeah, of course, you score better if you put in good phrases. If you reread a word, okay, try not to do that. Don't go back and read again. Yes, they will penalize you. Okay, so that's why you need to prepare during your 5 minutes. If you take control of the question, yeah, you won't go out of topic if you link it to your previous topic and relate it to that. Yes, if you will get penalized if you do that. Okay, changing. Okay, they won't penalize you for accents because it's not fair to children who are, you know, coming from a different country and they've just joined us for PSLE. But accents don't matter, but pronunciation, rhythm, and all that still do. So your accents should not smother the pronunciations. Okay, that's help. Is there a time limit to reading aloud? No, there's no time limit. But please don't take 10 minutes to read the passage. That's ridiculous, right? So no time limit, but don't read it at such a slow speed that you take so long. Obviously, you will get very low marks because you're reading too slow. Okay. Yeah. Why is it called stimulus-based conversation if it's more of an interrogation? It's not an interrogation. Okay, that's the thing that a lot of teachers sometimes and children get uh, confused about. It is not an interrogation. It's supposed to be a conversation. So the teacher asks that question. The first initial question is to prompt you to start off with your conversation. Then it becomes a back and forth. You must be able to converse. This oral exam is basically an examination, a test, an assessment of how your child is able to utilize the language he has learned to converse comfortably, efficiently, correctly, and uh, interesting, be very interesting. How can you practice at home? Okay, so we're going to, if you want, please drop us an email. We will send you the mock exams. The mock exams come with suggested answers behind too. Picture for SBC as well as the reading passage. Use the rubrics that we attach to the mock exams, and you can practice at home. All right. Okay, so any more important ones? No. There's something that I do not believe in, which is trying to memorize topics, because you know what memorizes things? Robots. Yeah, we program them, right? And then they memorize them. Important thing is to teach them how to react to anything and converse about anything and everything. Okay, I'm sure if your mind goes blank, you, of course, it's a matter of confidence again. If your mind goes blank, use the strategy that I taught you earlier. Fill up with the 5WH, 5W1H, your who, what, when, where, how, why, until you can get back on your feet and think, and then come up with a more interesting conversation with the examiner. Yes, very good. If you are speaking about interest, you can engage the examiners too. Like, how about you? Don't you guys love Marvel movies too? And then there you go. It's a conversation now. That's a very good point. Okay, so those are the kids that we actually look forward to talking to. We don't like talking to robot drones. How many examiners are already answered? Must we really ask for permission to sit? You rather not ask permission to sit and just sit down? Well, then the teachers might consider you very rude. Okay. Okay, so mine go blank again, use the 5W1H. All right. So I think that's all the time we have. So like I said, do email us for the mock oral exam practice and marking rubrics. There's also going to be a short video attached on how Singaporeans pronounce certain words and how the proper pronunciation should be. You can let your kid watch that. It's quite funny. Then email us at this email, chalkboardacademy@workshop.gmail.com. And lastly, okay, we have our online self-study course, which is available now on thinkific.com. Now, this course focuses on various, actually almost every tricky PSLE grammar question that we can compile. So the course is, there's 14 topics, okay, and it comes with a short video, about 4 to 9 minutes per video. Teaches where I teach you how your child can answer these questions step by step and get them correct. Then it's also followed by a quiz. The quiz will be auto-corrected online, so you can get your child can find out which questions he got right, which questions he got wrong, and the explanations to go with that. Okay, so do drop by our thinkific.com website and take a look at the preview. We have a free preview video for you there. So do try to subscribe to us and sign up. Earlier, some people asked whether we had a YouTube channel. Yes, we do. We have a YouTube channel. You can follow us, subscribe to us here. We put up short videos with tips on various PSLE Paper 1 and Paper 2 topics.
There were some questions about eye contact, but only one of the examiners is talking.
Yeah, okay. You basically maintain eye contact with whoever is talking to you. You don't need to look at the person. if he or she isn't talking to you. That'd be very weird if like teacher A is talking to you and you're looking at teacher B, right? So teacher A talk to you, you look at teacher A. Teacher B talk to you, you look at teacher B. Okay, so you don't have to stare at them all the time. You know, once they stop asking you something, you can rest your eyes a bit, look down a bit, but don't look down all the way. You know, look up when somebody talks. Okay, I hope this short webinar has been helpful. Do wish all your children best of luck. Please email us for the mock exam so you can do some practice in this week. I know next week is going to be there. Next week, right? Next week is the PSLE oral. Okay, so do let us know. Okay, and then we'll send you the rubrics as well as the mock exam. Okay, try not to share them everywhere. All right, so thank you very much. And we'll be conducting another free webinar soon on composition writing for PSLE. It will be in 2 weeks' time on a Sunday. Okay, so we'll see you then again. Okay, thank you very much. See you. Bye.